Welcome to 1620 Blanchard, where today bodybuilding action is the main attraction. It's Ken Hurricane Himes, a sports guy that's not shy. And I got Himes Hotshot. I got Jess Jordan on the show.
Hey.
Today's show is produced by Robin Unger and our creative producer, the great one, Jeremiah Armstrong. Less legends everywhere, but we're going to talk about Mr. Olympia stuff. We're going to talk about bodybuilding stuff. We're going to talk about weightlifting, the differences there. We're going to talk about today's diets as opposed to the diets from years ago. We're going to talk about what supplements to use, what not to, and what type of anabolic androgenic steroids we can use to improve our bodies. And it's all good news so far. So welcome to the show, Jesse.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Fantastic. So you've been a bodybuilder in the Victoria scene for how long?
It's a good question. Competitively, only a couple years, 2-3 years. As a personal trainer for about 5 years, and on my own for pretty much 30 years, but officially, let's say 16.
Excellent. 16 years in. How old are you now?
30.
And you're weighing in at 275 approximately?
270 in the morning on a good day.
Yeah. What's your competitive weight when you're on the big stage?
Last year when I competed at the Victoria, I was super heavyweight. I was 245 at weigh-in.
Okay.
About 5'10" in condition.
Yeah.
I was pretty pleased with that. But the goal is always, bigger and leaner. Next year, 255 with better condition.
Right.
So, but typically for almost anyone, when you prepare for a show, you lose weight to get in shape.
Yeah, and that can be dangerous. Historically, there's been a lot of wrestlers in the States
it can be.
died from hydration.
But typically, bodybuilding is slightly different than competitive wrestling and boxing, where they lose water to make weight.
Okay.
In bodybuilding, it's more usually 4 months of consistent diet to slowly lose the fat and kind of maintain the muscle as best you can.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get on stage, you look great, but you're depleted, sometimes dangerously so, but hopefully not.
Excellent. Could you bring up a picture of our guy here on your laptop there, Robin Unger, please?
I will add that in post.
Fantastic. Okay, so
we're talking about the
anyway,
photo from when you were young, 15.
And even just last year, I won the overall of the Victoria bodybuilding, and that was a good show.
Okay,
local show.
I will splice that in later.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. We got to see these pictures too. They're going to be that's another aspect of the show that we're producing here. We're running off our feet. We got so many guests. We got Afro Man coming next week. We've got other celebrities. Dr. Dave Hepburn, who's been down with Plena, and they're ready to supply Canada and the world with cannabis. This is a social center here, and so everyone gets together and has a smoke generally, and we've been able to save people from the streets, from the opiate crisis, from other bad decisions. So it's kind of a wonderful experience working down here. And when I first seen you walk in here, I said, my God, this guy, he's not like the rest of us. He dresses differently. He looks like a guy with great big muscles. You've got that chiseled good look, and I'm not trying to come on to you. That's after the show.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
Mostly from guys.
Yeah, mostly from guys. So guys are hitting on you. So but he walks into the social center here at 1620, and we started talking about bodybuilding. He started answering the questions I've always wanted to ask, but I may not have had the guts or may not have had the research behind me to ask, and he will answer them here for today. So it's great that you started bodybuilding when you did. The years of work is paid off, but you told me at 14 you were a vegetarian basically, and you studied that as you were growing up. A lot of us are studying girls or something like that.
There's no conflict. You can study both. But I was raised full vegetarian, and I was the shortest, skinniest kid, and I was super athletic and body conscious and pull-ups, chin-ups, track, cross-country, martial arts. I was in great shape, but I was skinny. And we have pictures. I was really, really skinny. I was training every day, and I had abs and all that, but I was tiny, and I was eating not enough protein, not enough food, and I was fed up with that. So I had to make a change. So
this was a decision you made on yourself? You didn't have a mentorship at that time to help you get these results?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I'm not so old, but 15 years ago, there was less internet information, there was less YouTube channels, there was less stuff. You kind of had to just go in and try things and eat things and experiment. My parents were curious but not supportive. It took him a long time to get behind.
And the big question, of course, everybody is going to ask: genetics. Are you predisposed to having great genetics from your parents?
My parents are lovely and intelligent and all the things.
Yep.
They don't look like bodybuilders.
Right.
They're pretty slim. They're artists and academics, and that's what they wanted for me. But it wasn't to be.
Right. Yeah. So you were happier when you were pumping the iron. Was it this? When did this call it a drug or something that where you're obsessed with this? You wanted to take this into your mind and your body. You became passionate about. When did you know that you were going to follow this, or was it
for bodybuilding? Because it used to be track as a kid.
Yeah.
But for bodybuilding, I remember it was very vivid. It was we were in Big White. I was 15. I was very skinny. That's when I took the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was 110 pounds. And I had a really good relationship with my dad, very open. So I was really talking about how frustrated I was and how sick I was. And I was basically an anorexic. Totally, actually.
Wow.
I was obsessed with being skinny. I was eating I was eating deficit calories as a 15-year-old boy. Nobody does that. And vegetarian. Actually, you can edit this out if it's inappropriate, but it coincides with an ayahuasca trip around the same time. I was very clear what my intention was going in, which was I didn't even know bodybuilding was a thing, but to get muscular, to be strong, to be empowered, to be able to eat meat. Because the first time I ate meat, I was sick. I had a steak my uncle made me. I threw up.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat it. So that was transformative. And then, 15 years later, it looks like, oh, well, good genetics, good luck. Must be nice to be so good at this. It's like, well, you should see how I've lived my last 15 years. It's been an interesting.
So almost like a religious, the ayahuasca reset you so you became a better person?
I think.
Because ayahuasca is big in the news right now. Everybody's talking about DMT and magic mushrooms and all these helpful aids to performance.
I think
PTSD, and
I believe they can be very helpful tools in the right setting with the right intention. I wouldn't argue with people about this. I wouldn't talk too openly to too many people about this.
Right.
Not everyone understands, and I don't need to convince them. But for me, it was powerful, and I've had a few since then.
Yes.
And mushrooms also.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be powerful to reaffirm your intention if you're clear. God give me big muscles. No, it's not going to happen. But this is what I need. Like, show me the path. Like,
this will make you happy.
Yeah, and it's funny because I train men and quite high level men, which is what I always wanted. Like bodybuilders, I train bodybuilders.
Right.
And I get it all the time where guys like, when I can bench 250, I'll be happy. If I could have a six-pack, I'll be happy. And I smile because those are awesome goals, but you'll never be happy with that goal. You want 500, 600, like it never ends. 8-pack.
Yeah, you rolled your eyes just taking that question. I could just see you because you wanted to take it,
But I roll my eyes with respect because I see the same pattern in myself.
If I'm under the bench press right now and I'm struggling with my last rep, what are you saying to me?
That's a good question.
Because I have to do that lots, and I start swearing at them. I said, "Don't waste my fucking time, man. Push that thing up."
Well, it starts before the set. Like I was queuing another guy the other day. He went for a PR.
Yeah. What's a PR?
Personal record.
Okay.
So the week before, he got 3 reps of this weight, and this week we're thinking, okay, what are you going to get now? And I kind of have a vision for him that's more optimistic than he is because I know this. I can push much more, and I know this. So he was like, well, maybe I could get 6, and I'm thinking 8, 9. 10. I'll spot you. It'll be 10. Right. It was 10. He got 10 perfect reps. And he was so empowered. He was so surprised. And I wasn't surprised. I knew he had it. But if I wasn't there, he didn't have it. And how much did I help him? Not that much. It's more a psychological spot. It's like I'm holding the space for him. You got this.
Yeah.
I won't tell you got this if you don't have this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see that. You got it, all you. And they're like pulling the bar off him. It's like, that's not all you, man. Just drop the weight. Come on. But yeah. So,
I like it, man. A lot of people need coaching, and they pay a little bit to come and see you. You're a professional. You're the real deal.
It's a high end product, and it's lengthy. Like my clients have been with me for a year, 2, 3, 4. Like
right,
you don't just drop in and out, which is what I want. But
and you have professional people too.
Oh yeah. And men, almost exclusively now, men.
Mostly men, because you're so damn good looking.
Well, to be fair, I've had a few female clients. And honestly, maybe it was my own experience, but
Yes.
the boundaries would blur because,
Yeah.
they'd get results. They'd be excited. They send me a picture. They dream about me. And it's like, oh God, like I'm flattered, but come on, like what are we supposed to do with this? So I like men, training men.
Yeah.
Also understand the male psychology a bit more when it comes to bodybuilding.
Being a man and stuff, being the machismo, yeah. So from 14 to about 15 to 20, you were a natural athlete?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a good question because at first, I got to about 20.
The ayahuasca trip started at 14, 15? In between.
I remember at 15.
Okay, 15. Thank you. So 15, 20, you're natural, you're lifting.
And my work ethic was...
What city was this?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. Huge city, lots of bodybuilding.
It's funny because you would think, but I went to all the gyms in Vancouver.
I used to one in East Vancouver all the time, Spartacus or whatever.
I ended up driving all the way across town just for that gym because it was the best one, but
Yeah.
it wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
It was okay. And I didn't see bodybuilders. I didn't know bodybuilding until I came to Victoria, actually.
Wow.
I never thought about bodybuilding, competing. It turns out, looking back, I would have been an amazing junior, a natural junior. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But, and at first, people would, not at first, around 1920, I was the best at the gym at UVic. I went to UVic.
Yeah.
At 19, I did one semester at UVic. And that gym was incredible. And people would accuse me all the time of being on steroids. And it bugged me because I wasn't.
Yeah.
And some of them were. And at first I was like, how unfair is this? Why are steroids a thing? They're evil. I don't want them. If there were none, I would be the best. And I could continue to be the best. So I was frustrated, actually, initially. It's like cheating.
Yeah.
And I reflected on that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And over time and research, I changed my mind. And I was like, for me, I'm not satisfied with this. I was about 200 pounds, very, very conditioned. My bench was 350, approximately,
Nice.
which is very good.
Oh, yes.
But I wasn't done. I want more. And for natural, there is a plateau. It's around there. If you're really dedicated, 5'10", 200 with, good six-pack and 350 bench, it's like, damn. But it kind of ends there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give up or change sports or go dark side conservatively. And that's something I'm very interested in. I don't recommend it to people. I wait for them to ask me, really, and then we talk about it.
Right.
And it is a life decision that affects you. Okay. But for me, it's been very positive. So the last 10 years, on and off, but mostly on,
Yeah.
I've been using testosterone
Yes.
as an anabolic. A few others, but generally pretty moderate compared to what I hear.
Yeah.
So they work, but they're not the secret. I know guys that use much more than me. You couldn't tell to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
look like me.
well, you don't use
Beer belly.
But that being said, I think
Used to have a beer belly. Thanks to 1620 saved my life.
really,
Yeah. No, we went into the cannabis. The inhalation of cannabis or the eating of it has improved, and I'm doing fine. But this is a great story. Please continue.
yeah,
Yes, please.
you can redirect me if I'm going off track.
No, you're fine. It's a good story. I
think testosterone can be of benefit in a smaller dose for most men, especially 40-ish plus.
Right.
And I've seen it firsthand. It's like, a lot of them, they come to me and I want to be bigger and leaner. It's like, yeah, we all do. What's your diet like? What's your testosterone like?
Mm-hmm.
And typically,
The basics.
it's pretty low. And if you correct that, it can allow you to pursue bodybuilding more. You can train harder. Your nutrient partitioning is better. You can absorb more protein. Your metabolism is better. It's just, and that's at a relatively low dose. Maybe like normal plus.
Right.
Yeah.
From what I can see, every time I open up a bodybuilding magazine or I watch something on television, these 70, 80-year-old men needed growth hormone. Now they've got 100 times the growth hormone they had since taking this shake, and we'll send you the shake here on Fox Network to the new, and it gets sent to you and stuff. And I'm just looking at this, but everywhere I read or everything I see on YouTube, it's this old guy has a six-pack now. He's 63 years of age. He started a year ago. We'll tell you the secret at the end of this YouTube. And it turns out he was taking testosterone or
course.
amino acids, and it was the growth hormone, the luteinizing hormone all went together in conjunction and made this man younger and stronger. Because before that, we had those Charles Atlas bodies, where they were just slim and they didn't have a lot of cuts and they just had no vascularity. And then these old guys. Like, I'm getting up there in time, and so I'm looking at these guys like, is this the look I want to have, or do I want to die like everybody else in an old folks' home, someone wiping my ass at the toilet? No, I'm going to fucking squat. I'm going to keep working out, working through all my injuries, and doing what you're talking about. So this is a very important time for men who, like myself, and this show is based on health, sex, and longevity. That's the premise of this.
Good topic.
Yeah, and so you're talking about taking something that was known illegally, maybe still illegal, but you can see it in magazines. You can buy it online now. You can get this stuff. I'm not sure if it's good or not, but all I know is that men are improving their lives. And I can imagine if you worked as a firefighter or an ERT, SWAT performance person who needs 20-30% more strength and power to bust down that door and kick some ass.
I'd like to address these questions.
Please,
Very
go
good.
ahead, sir.
Let me just respond.
Once again, we're with Jess Jordan and Robin Unger producing this show with Mr. Armstrong back there taking the creative content for us. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I do see a lot of, in bodybuilding magazines and in the media, a lot of what I would say is false advertising. You show a guy that's in incredible shape, he's been training for many years, he's on all kinds of protocol, and then they attach it to some relatively useless product.
Tiger milk.
Yeah, or like, this...
Desiccated liver tablets.
Like, there is no secret. There is no shortcut.
Yeah.
And guys that are in shape put in the work.
Yes.
It's a huge industry. There's a lot of... I used to buy more supplements. I used to even have a sponsorship pretty recently, and I realized that I actually don't want supplements. I don't use hardly any supplements.
Wow.
It's food, and it's clean anabolics, and hard work, and dedication, and consistency. And you have to love it. And you have to love it for yourself, because nobody actually cares. Like, very few people care that much about what I do. If I lift 500 pounds, if I look shredded, It's for me. If you're doing it for other people, you'll be disappointed. But that point about firemen was a good point, because I've talked to a few firemen. I have a friend who's my age, and he's a fireman in Vancouver, and he's been on and off anabolics.
Yeah.
And he struggles off them because it's hard with the erratic sleep. It's like, and it's a tough schedule. And one thing testosterone can help with is you're more resilient. You can get away with a bit less sleep. You can get away with a little space between meals.
Right.
Eat more sometimes, eat less sometimes. Miss a day from the gym, a week off the gym. You're okay. You can stretch it a little more. Mm-hmm. As a lifestyle guy, what I do, I'm a bodybuilding specialist. So I'm a great coach for lifestyle. What I do is pretty specific. Not everyone wants to be like me. And it's funny when people say that, I don't want to be as big as you. It's like, don't worry, it'll never happen. But I could teach you.
I've heard women say that so many times. I want to lift weights, but I don't get big. I'm like, well, you might look like Corey Everson back in my day. She was the bodybuilding.
I remember her, but that was no overnight oops.
Yeah.
It was like a lifetime of
hard
sacrifice.
work. Yeah. Hard work. And so how many hours a day are you putting in to maintain this? Or when did you break through? Is to go from, say, 1 hour 3 times a week at Vic Tanny's or whatever, the European health spas, whatever, and then you started taking your first couple doses. And did you have a mentor to help you inject or pick the right orals or
it was
the right
me.
Creams?
It was testosterone only, my first cycle.
Yeah. Where were you getting your research done from?
Google.
Just Google.
Hours and hours. I was like...
Okay, so you didn't have any Bill Phillipses back at the time like we did, Muscle for Life or Body for Life?
No.
He went mainstream.
I mean, those were good before the internet. I know slightly older guys that really believe in that.
The steroid books back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, Google. It's like, I remember one time my sister saw my Google history, she looked at it when I was there. And I was mortified because the questions were so direct. Like, how to this? Like, it was like all the questions just bluntly. And, she didn't even care that much. It was just, it just was like eye-opening, like how much hours of research I put into this shit. Thing.
How many days can you go back that far and remember how many days or weeks when you just noticed something's changed suddenly?
On the cycle?
Yeah, you started feeling happier. You got lifted heavier weights. You started.
It's a good question. I was very dialed in before I started, which I would recommend. Like, I was going to the gym every day. I was like,
you're keeping a log.
Actually, I don't like logging.
Okay.
But I know exactly where I'm at. It's all there in my mind. But like for my first cycle, it was 11 and a half weeks. I meant to do 12, but 11 and a half, I did a max bench, kind of strained my pec, and I called it there, and I came off. which is standard protocol. You come off.
Yeah.
It's difficult to come off if you love bodybuilding.
Yeah.
It's like, I liken it to, you're driving a fast car on the highway and you get used to it. Fuck yeah, driving my Porsche on the highway, going 110. Then you got to like merge back into traffic and get in your, beat up Tercel. And it's like, I mean, that's not a fair analysis. But it's like, you know what? This sucks. I got my Porsche in the garage. Like, what am I doing?
I'm glad you brought up that analogy of cars, because I had a doctor here in town, and we'd served together for a little while there, and in the infantry and stuff. And he made a very interesting comment. He says, you can put a Ferrari motor in a Pinto or a Bobcat or, a little smart car, but you're going to blow the motor at some point. So the old school thinking, maybe, or that still exists everywhere, that these testosterone and growth hormone and stuff like that can kill or cause great liver damage, kidney disease and stuff. And to be honest with you, I've been around weightlifting and bodybuilding just casually all my life, because I just like to try and work it out. But I don't know anybody personally that's ever died, and I've lived all across Canada. Okay. So if you could answer that question for me and for everybody else, because you hear the negative things. You'll see Rich, what's his name?
Piana.
Yeah, his heart blew up, but he was also doing cocaine, I believe. So
I mean, there's a lot of things he was doing. I wasn't there, but
yeah. Well, his doctor got on and talked about it for 20 minutes after the fact. But to answer your question, because that is a good question, and there's a lot of ignorance and hysteria. Like my mom, very intelligent, but she was very concerned when I brought it up to her, and less as she gets more knowledgeable. But testosterone is very well tolerated in injectable form. It's bioidentical. Your body knows what it is. Very few side effects unless you go crazy with it or you're sensitive, or you let your estrogen get out of control, which is common with like new users that don't know what they're doing. Okay.
Because as T gets high, usually estrogen gets high. And if your estrogen gets really high, it's not fun.
Okay.
And moody and fat and gyno and all kinds of shit.
And then you're getting diabetes, and then you're getting prostate cancer because your
libido's shot too.
Okay, that's
typically, and erection quality.
Yeah,
and all that kind of thing. And your cholesterol. It's like,
okay,
and it's easy to mitigate. So, testosterone and an aromatase inhibitor,
anti-estrogen.
Yeah,
for the people like me. That's a good one. Yeah,
but testosterone is well tolerated. Some of the orals are known to be more toxic. Liver toxic.
Yes.
Temporarily, Winstrol is a popular one. Typically, like bodybuilders use that preparing for a contest, and there's orals involved, and that's when they look their best by bodybuilding standards, but they're not healthy.
You're right.
Like I remember my mom was asked the night before, she's like, "Is it healthy to do this?" And it's like, "No," but the show's tomorrow. Like this is what I'm doing.
Are you seeing any bodies? Where are the bodies piling up?
No, I mean people also
are friends dropping dead in other gyms across the country.
Not directly at all from this.
No,
and even roid rage. It's like something I hear is a buzzword I hear.
Isn't that younger guys that have too much testosterone to begin with, and then they just double and triple it in a quick cycle?
It's not even dose. I think it's just being mindful, having the awareness, self-awareness, and just like. It's usually the hot-headed guys that do reckless cycles and then blame the drugs for yelling at their girlfriend. It's like, okay, that's delusional. But moderation. Typically, people overuse steroids, and that's kind of a guy mentality that I found. Was like even I post a video of me wearing squat shoes or something, and people were all intrigued. Like, oh, that's the reason. Oh, okay. If I had squat shoes, I'd be like you. It's like I just put them on today. They seem to help.
Jealousy.
But it's like. Oh, he's taking 500. I should take 1,000. That guy's bigger than me. He must be taking 2,000. It's like, dude, like
no one cared about the vegetarian, but now everyone's looking at you and actually challenging your thoughts and beliefs and a little mainstreaming and becoming a social media personality like yourself. We get Jess Jordan at what?
Jess Jordan 222 well, that's my Instagram.
Okay, what is it again, please?
At Jess Jordan 222.
Perfect. Thank you.
I need more following.
Yep. Okay.
My content's there. I'm not sure how to break out there.
Yeah.
For the world audience.
I like what I'm hearing today. What about us old fat fucks that sit around and watch sports every night and just maybe don't do a lot, and we've seen our best days? How can testosterone help us?
That's a good question. Probably these fat fucks have low testosterone. So it'd be good to get tested. Step one, get like an accurate test.
Yeah.
Blood work is free in Canada. Easy to do. Where's your T? Let's see. The scales are different, but let's say 1 to 10. If you're 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, that's kind of concerning. I wouldn't want to live like that. Mm-hmm. If you're 9 out of 10, like, okay, maybe that's okay. What are your goals? But most guys that get tested are low, especially if you're lazy and fat and you're not living your best life,
yeah,
and you're over 40, your test is low.
Okay.
To replace it, a doctor would replace it for you. They probably replace it kind of moderately, 100 milligrams a week, boost you up a little.
You got to see the doctor once a week to get a shot.
Typically, I mean, you could talk them into letting you do it yourself.
I don't let that guy take my pants off about once a year.
I mean, it's pretty inconvenient to go to the doctor just for a test shot.
Once a year, that's the only chance he gets to see the anaconda.
Well,
turn your head and cough.
I got my first that recently, testicle exam.
Oh,
it was fine. No irregularity.
That's
also,
just that I was that probably people might be curious.
Just for the record,
steroids.
Yeah, because I get this a lot, and personal experience, I have not noticed much testicular atrophy, and I've never had any complaints. Probably if I don't know, maybe it's 10% shrinkage or something, but it's very not noticeable. Some guys seem to have much more.
Yeah.
I've never looked at it, but I trust what they say.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with testosterone is you take it for a few weeks or more, it'll suppress your natural production. So your testes won't make testosterone adequately.
Right.
To me, they don't make that much, so I don't really mind. But it is it's a decision because to come off, it takes a while to reacclimate back to normal. And that can be pretty miserable, especially if you're holding on to all this muscle or you're getting ready for another show. It's like, I can't take 3 months where I'm a little emotional and I'm weak and I feel like crap and I lose 20 pounds and I decomp a little bit. So I would typically, it's the young guys that go on and off.
Yep.
But if you're 40, like just get on a low dose and stick with it.
For life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever work with endocrinologists, that sort of thing, on these ideas that
I do
that you bring forth?
More recently, yeah, I have a few doctors that
are interested.
And just to talk openly with, which is helpful because that was something in my 20s. Like I felt like I was doing it alone. I still am, but like no support, kind of secret. Like, am I doing the right thing? Will I have a stroke when I'm 40? Like, is this the right thing to do? And the more I do it, the more I realize that you can be smart about it.
Okay.
I've had blood work that shows that my blood work is pretty healthy.
How often do you get your blood work done?
Less often than I should, but I'm getting more frequent, maybe twice a year.
Okay, twice a year. I heard that if you give blood as a bodybuilder, it changes up. Is it the red blood cell count that you actually, and this is going to be good for blood services everywhere.
Yeah.
Robin, check this out. That every time you give blood, your body has to produce new blood, and it just recharges, refreshes your whole.
I've heard that, like an oil change
system
kinda.
again, like an oil change. Yeah, because now you're producing again. I'm just wondering if you've heard much more about that.
I think they used to do bloodletting back in the 1800s.
Well, that's still a thing. If like, especially in other countries, well, even America, where it's like you have to pay to give blood, and if you've taken steroids, there's like you kind of have to admit that so they don't give your blood to a little girl.
The same here.
Yeah, but you can still give blood here fairly often, and that is a concern for some guys. Anabolics typically, especially at higher doses, and some other ones, boldenone and anadrol and whatnot, can increase your red blood cells quite a lot. You can actually feel uncomfortable and kind of red toned skin and nosebleeds and headaches, and you're a bit off. And if you let it out, it resets it and you feel better. Which typically.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a try. Give blood, please. Everybody give blood. Now,
but also specify that you've been using steroids.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to have, most people won't have that issue.
But then they probably may not have to give blood because.
Yeah.
It's only really, I would say it's only beneficial if you're actually using steroids.
Okay.
In my world. Talk to your doctor.
Yeah. Or the people that see horrific things, and you got to give a lot of blood to make sure that the banks are full. That's another idea too. But we'll talk about that after the show. Let's get down to the actual contest now a little bit.
Sure.
So you and I both agree that people are using growth hormones, steroids. We're not seeing guys dropping dead everywhere.
Growth hormone, just to quickly flag.
And it would be like, remember when Lyles Alzada from the Raiders got brain cancer? And that never stopped. Like, that story just wouldn't go away. And he blamed it on the testosterone he was taking.
One thing I heard with him, and again, I'm a little out of my depth, but I've seen the movies that really scared you with that story. But back 20 plus years ago, they were using cadaver GH. So people are actually getting, what was it? Like that monkey brain disease.
Jared Creutzfeldt disease.
Yeah, which was terrible.
Yeah.
But now they've been able to synthesize growth hormone.
Prearrange 122 amino acids.
191.
Oh, it's 191, sorry.
And it's so fragile.
Is that correct, Robin? Go to the fact sheet. Fact check.
I believe it is.
We're going to go with that on the fly here.
191, okay.
We're going to leave that one.
We're going to leave it to the champ.
That's right.
But the thing about growth hormone, I've just kind of been aware of it recently, but it's very difficult to find the real thing.
Right.
Like the experts kind of say only trust pharma grade growth hormone, but how do you get it? And the cost is extremely prohibitive, like hundreds of dollars a day for a real dose.
Mexico?
I mean, I was in Thailand for a year and I saw growth hormone. It looked legit, but it was too cheap and it's still expensive, but cheaper than it should be. So at the time I was questioning it. So even still, growth hormone, there's a lot of underground growth hormone that I would not trust.
Look at, remember when Sylvester Stallone he got busted 20 years ago he had like 40 vials of growth hormone. He was going through the Australian.
They're known to be very
they busted
strict
him
at the border.
Apparently, he's still making movies. Just Last Blood's on about now.
He'd be the guy that could get good growth hormone.
Yeah,
he's a well-connected millionaire, 65-year-old.
And Arnold's still taking testosterone, isn't he?
I don't know, but I'm sure he
rides
is.
a lot of bicycle. I've seen him with his buddy Frank here, his buddy
Franco.
Yeah, Franco just passed away. But you could see them down. I was just down in Venice Beach in Hollywood, and we were doing the comedy scene and stuff
recently.
And, about last winter. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Arnold looks great. Like he's a good success story.
Yeah,
he's got all his hair and everything.
And Dorian Yates looks like an average dude. Like
have you heard him talk? Have you seen some of his interviews? Because he's an interesting guy.
He's a very interesting guy, but he was the monster. Wasn't he Mr. O 5 times in a row?
I think 6 in the 90s.
6, yeah.
But he kind of ushered in a new era, so they say, where he was freakier big and freakier conditioned than everyone. And he only competed once a year, and he was not in the Hollywood America scene. He'd like hide away in his dungeon in UK, come out once a year and just beat everyone. And he was a white guy. It's still kind of, there is a black dominance.
Yeah, that Lee Haney time where Lee Haney was the star. And
he came up right after him.
Yeah. So that was the great white hope, sort of.
But if you look at him now, he's probably late 50s. Yeah. He looks pretty good, considering. But he's pretty open about everything.
A lot smaller.
Yeah. I think he's had some injuries and just changed his focus. But
let's talk about the actual competition.
Yeah.
In other sports, you go to competition, you go to war on the pitch, the ice rink, whatever, the tennis court, and you're going on a stage, and you've done all this lifting to get into a certain type of shape. You want the Eugene Sandow, Mr. O trophy, maybe down the road. You're going for Mr. Universe, correct? At some point?
Universe isn't such a competition anymore. It used to be. Mr. Olympia is the big show.
Okay, still.
I don't want to say.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to go for Olympia. It's a bit lofty, but
all right.
Give me a couple of years.
Sure.
I'll quietly pursue it, and we'll see what happens.
So you're going on to the you walk in there. You've been invited by somebody to show up, or you on that day you just all flip off your clothes and hit a few poses, and right away they start weeding. A guy like me that was to walk through the door, and a guy like
That's a good question.
Is the invitation at first, and then they
depends on the level of show.
Okay,
I've only done 3 shows.
Okay, and you won all 3, didn't you?
Yes, I won all 3.
Jesse Jordan,
undefeated
with the same pair of trunks.
Greatest Jewish bodybuilder of all time.
Actually, I just got a message yesterday.
Yeah,
this guy, I don't know him, from U.S. He wanted to buy my trunks for me for $700 U.S.
The used ones?
Yeah, and I was like, I never washed them. I used them.
Strange.
And he's like, oh, even better. I was like,
settle down, Robin.
Yeah. Hey, I'd take that $700.
Well, it occurred to me. I was like, that's pretty good money. I mean, I'll probably recycle them anyway. It cost me $40.
Yeah.
But it's just, I get some of that.
That is very strange.
Yeah.
No, it's not strange at all.
I was thinking of opening a bidding war. It's like, if anyone wants to beat that. But
I recommend it. Yeah, on your Instagram stories.
Nothing to lose. Yeah. Anyway,
so
I digress.
Back in my day, bodybuilders your size, like I'm 20, 30 years older than you, they would eat protein and they'd eat shit. And you could always tell because whenever they farted, oh, that's a protein fart, and they make fun of it, and I just had too much protein and stuff. And that doesn't exist either today, does it? I mean, people aren't pigs anymore like they used to be back in my day.
Whey protein isolate, or whey protein generally.
Yeah,
it was a big supplement that was very popular, still is. I personally don't use it. If I do, I use the isolate, the very extracted, clean, purified form. That can make you very gassy.
Yeah.
Like if you get whey from Costco or whatever.
Well, you're freaking nervous. You show up to the show. You got an invitation. Now, what happens at this point? Your belly's like you're putting it all on the line.
Let me give
Do
you.
you have friends out in the hallway?
Let me give you 30 seconds of context,
please.
It depends on the show, but let's see. Last year, I did the Van Isle Showdown. It was at McPherson Playhouse, full, like sold out crowd, hometown. It was a great show. Pretty competitive for a regional show, but that is open to anyone. So anyone can sign up.
Yep.
And then you choose your class based on a few different things. They're adding new classes now. Men's physique, classic physique, bodybuilding open, and there's, middleweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight, super heavyweight, all the way up.
I heard they need an announcer.
They do. there was a pretty good MC last year.
Yeah.
He's a big pro.
I did the Mr. Golds once, and who was our big guy from Toronto there? He died. He was there.
Bodybuilder?
Yeah, one of the biggest guys of all time. So I did that Golds Classic. I think it was 91 or 97 or something. And it was a great show. Like I got to meet some
a professional
cool people.
show?
Yeah. Who is that massive guy? He was almost 380 pounds. One of the biggest, freakiest guys of all time.
Kovacs?
Yeah.
Greg Kovacs.
Greg Kovacs.
Yeah.
He was up there talking about his insulin, and he said, well, I'll talk to you later after the show, he said.
Insulin's an interesting one.
Interesting, yeah, insulin.
Interesting, creepy.
Yeah. So you're on the stage. I'm going to get back to that. And is it true you walk in there and the girls have to paint you down with a tanning gel, and you're naked at this point with the rest of the dudes? Or
Let me respond to this.
Please.
This is a good story. So I'm relatively new to competing. I've been bodybuilding a long time, but it just occurred to me recently. I was seeing some other guys compete. I was like, I wish I could do that. It's like, hold on, why can't I do that? So I did my first show. I prepped myself, and it was like I know what I'm doing, but there was no plan, and I won the overall.
Yeah.
So wow. So then the Victoria show, second show, it was hometown. It was a great show. I was more prepared. I kind of knew what to do, so I came in much bigger, much better. But yeah, still, I hadn't done much competitive bodybuilding, so that you get your first coat of spray tan the night before, Friday afternoon,
Good.
at the hotel, and you see all. It's funny because you come in and this is like you've been preparing this your whole life, but also the last 4 months.
Is this in the dining room?
You got
or?
your best haircut, your shave.
Where are you all meeting at this hotel?
Like the not lobby, like our room.
Is there like porn music playing in the background? Is you guys all
just music and fans? It's a weird scene. But so you go in there, and it's the first time you see your competition.
Yeah.
And so it's a bunch of really, really lean dudes. And it's hard to be objective with yourself. So like, do I belong here? Like these guys are all so in shape. Like look at that guy's abs. Look at that guy's calves. Like damn. And then the team is all women, the tanning team. And they spray tan you. So there's a few coats. But some guys, the bashful guys or the men's physique guys, no comment. They wear underwear and stuff just so protect, But for me, I'm wearing such a small G-string. Like it's like you might as well just be naked, so you can put a sock on your dick. But that's about it.
I'm sorry, you do put a sock on your penis?
For the Van Pro, the third show,
They only say penis on the show.
Okay, they actually gave you this little thing. They wanted you to put something on your penis.
Robin, this is your department.
I have no comment.
So I can keep saying penis. I'm almost done.
He's usually all over this. He starts doing that crazy humor from the high school days. So you're in there, the sock is on, they're getting tanned down.
I didn't have a sock at the Victoria. I was just naked. And also, I'm pretty happy with what I got, but it's not a flattering time. It's cold, you're anxious, there's a bunch of dudes looking at you,
You're all
especially
dehydrated.
me. So I didn't know it, but I was kind of the guy to beat, and everyone else knew it, but not me. So it's like, everyone's looking at me. Who's this guy?
Oh, that makes it twice as bad.
Also at the weigh-in, this is a a good moment. The weigh-in, you see what you weigh to see what class you're in.
Okay.
At a regional show, the heaviest class is heavyweight. So over 198.0 pounds.
No.
Yeah. Wow. So I came in, I talked to the head judge. He wanted me to weigh in. And he's like, how tall are you? 5'10". He's like, what do you weigh? Let's see, 245. The whole room's silent. I'm wearing a hoodie. It's just like shredded face though. Sunken face and just like big shoulders.
Yeah.
Usually the better guys kind of cover up.
Yeah.
So I was queuing off Dorian and some of those guys.
Yeah.
But you can tell you're in shape. Anyway, 245. Like, no one was close to me on that show. Wow. So size is an advantage if it's good size. I could tell that like some guys, some of my friends that didn't quite see me, 245, like, yeah, right, you're in shape. And I was like, all right, well, suck it.
Do people take Do people take cameras and stuff back there? Do they take their family and friends and their kids, come on over here. Jesse's just getting warmed up for the show. And is it like a festival back there, or is it pretty professional?
It's pretty tense. Like, it was a hometown, so I knew most of the people. But at a bigger show, it's very tense. They have coaches there with them, and with people, or other people with clothes on. Yeah, some people massaging their legs.
Like Wreck Beach. Sort of.
Very different, but also naked.
I'm liking this, yeah. Okay.
So that was eye-opening. It's funny, like, girlfriend at the time, she kind of like looked through the door, and she like let me go. Sorry. And just, it's like all these girls just like actually like moving your dick out of the way, eye level, so they can like spray behind your balls, and like, all right, well, I got to win the show, so do what you got to do. But like, I wasn't expecting this.
If you didn't quite hear that, he said spraying behind their balls with some kind of a spray.
It's like dark tan.
Was it like a big stream, like a mist, or is it?
Yeah, and a bunch of coats. You have to go in 3 times.
Jeez.
At the end, they glaze you and shine you, and it's a whole process.
Big fucking donut.
But the thing is, you put in so much work. That's kind of like
cream donut.
You're going to battle. It's like it's raining. Like, fuck it.
Wow.
I don't care. Like, this is like, you see my dick. Like, okay, whatever.
I'll take a Venetian cream, please.
So that was an interesting experience
for the whole staff. That is so cool, man.
And then there's prejudging. This is important. Prejudging in the morning is pretty much when they score it.
Would you bump a guy just to get through the hall? Is it like that?
Some guys are weird. I'm pretty respectful.
Okay, you walk around. You're still a gentleman.
At the Van Pro, when I won the super heavyweight, the guy that got second was just. I mean, he didn't handle it well, and his family was sitting with my family, and they didn't handle it well either. It was like,
that's part of learning.
And I think it was pretty decisive. I mean, obviously he was disappointed, but
what was the music you used?
Good question. That's something I used. The song "Jump" by Danzel. It was like a dance remix.
Okay. You mean Van Halen's original?
No, it's Danzel. He's like a pretty funny looking 90s DJ.
Sure.
It was like very dancey. The beat drops, like boom. It was so active. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be a great choice. In hindsight, it was not a good choice.
Too fast?
Too fast. So I was like popping and hitting all my poses, and I was gassed. Especially for the other show, I had to go right back on. I was like, and they don't score that. It's more entertainment. So I watched the more experienced guys. They go in slow and hit a few poses every 2 seconds or 5 seconds.
Carl Orff, dun dun.
But like a lot of build up and dun. Yeah. So next time, I think that would be a better call strategically.
Carl Orff. You got to hear that one. You know what that one is, Robin?
Oh yeah,
Robin knows his music very good. Yeah,
it's posing is an art.
It's a powerful operatic. Yeah, so posing
that's something I would say I could improve on.
Is that all about being tight, or in the moment with the picture, the face?
With the music routine, it's about practicing, because I pretty much wung it.
So ballet or something like taking some dance lessons would help.
Yeah, or having a...
Sorry for interruption. We have a giant wrestler in a vest here.
Perfect. There's a giant wrestler in a vest here right now.
Okay, is he here to see us?
Well, he was going to come in. We were going to originally ask you questions. Before we started the show.
It's up to you if you think it'll be...
Well, do you want to see this guy just shoot the shit for a couple minutes?
Like a couple minutes? Sure.
Yeah. Ask him if he wants to be on the show. Otherwise, we're busy for a while. We'll just put him beside the mic.
Right here?
Yeah. Okay. Because he's going to ask you really cool questions. And he's the real deal.
Cool. Will I know him?
No, here he is right now. As the little dog walks in the room, little Fluffy comes in the room, a little Pompanera. How do you say it? Pompanera? Hey, Mike, welcome to the show here.
Hey.
Here comes Mike.
I do recognize this guy.
There he is. So you got a few seconds. Come on here and talk and ask a few questions. So Mike Schrank here, he's a local legend in the bodybuilding world, weightlifting and stuff. And he just walked in off the street. That's Jeremiah, creative producer over here. And that's Robin Unger, the producer of today's show at 1620. Usually we break out some cannabis about this time. If anybody wants some cannabis, feel free to bring Kid in. And anyway, so we've got these two boys. We've talked about a lot of things here today, Mike. We talked about his early days. We talked about the Vancouver show he was in at the McPherson where he won last year.
That was Victoria show.
The Victoria show. We talked about growth hormone. We talked about testosterone. We talked about giving blood at the Red Cross. So, Mike, this is a show that will be seen around the world. And so welcome to the show. It's Himes Hotshots. He's a hot shot today. You're a hot shot. And so this is Jesse Jordan and Michael Schrank. They can talk a little bit. And this is a show. We'll give you a couple minutes to ask a few tough questions. And he's got a little bit of time to answer. So we just brought this guy in. This would be perfect for you to just get some more intelligent questions from. Anyways, welcome to the show.
So what? Yeah, before we can always edit this out, right?
Yeah. What do you want?
So I need you to slide this way.
Okay.
Both sit. Basically, you're going to come in beside him.
Like the Bee Gees on the microphone.
Here we go.
If you look behind you, you can see yourself on
There you go.
on the camera. So we can move that way a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so just talk into the microphone when you
A
talk.
little bit more.
Okay.
A little bit more.
So it's
Just
getting.
hang tight for a second, please.
Yep.
About looking at that camera over there.
Yep.
No, sorry. If you look at the right of the television screen,
Yeah.
you'll see yourself. What I need you to do is, even if you sit on the edge a little bit, and you scooch there, then I have you both
Okay.
in the shot.
Okay. Hold on. There you go.
Okay. Are we on that?
Yeah, that's good there, eh? Can you see Jesse? Oh yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
So you might have to yell.
Yeah, that's okay.
Are we good on those shots there?
Okay. So what topics?
You can also take
We've
the
already
mic,
done it.
You can take the mic.
We've already
off
done it.
The mic stand.
We've asked him everything. So now you can ask him some heavier, dutier questions if you like, and we'll just introduce you to the show. Yeah, we've covered almost everything.
There's always more questions.
Yeah, please.
So, Jesse, nowadays a lot of guys are using some substance, like experimental products like SARMs and selective androgen receptor modulators. Do you have any experience with them? And I guess some of the athletes are using those instead of, anabolic steroids because they're safer apparently and have less side effects. But that's all on paper. So I'm just wondering if you have any firsthand experience or anecdotal experience with any of the people you know with the SARMs and how they work and if they're safe to use in humans.
Excellent question. Yeah, hand over the mic, please.
Yeah, that's a good question. They're pretty new. They're kind of legally gray.
Yeah.
Most of the veteran experienced bodybuilders, they stick with the anabolics. They're proven, test, DECA, growth, whatever. I've seen guys that don't compete, or men's physique guys that hold less size, or women that use them successfully. SARMs is kind of a heading that involves some drugs that aren't SARMs.
Yeah.
Like I've used MK677. Yes, which I'm mildly impressed with. I think it's effective for growth hormone boost and a few other benefits. That's legal, as I understand it, or not illegal. You can order it. You can buy it at the supplement store. I've also used Cardarine, which it's under the heading of SARM, but it's not a SARM. It's boost your cardio. It can improve fat loss. That's actually being recommended more by bodybuilders because it is effective. Nothing can replace testosterone, etc., for real heavyweight bodybuilding. But it's a commitment. If you see a lot of 19-year-old boys, they jump on testosterone and tren, and it's like, you know what? You don't need all that shit right now. So maybe you would be better off to start with some moderate compounds and see what happens. I don't have much experience with SARMs, like androgen receptor modulators, but they sound interesting, and I think they'll continue to get better. So it's promising. Do you have experience with them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mike?
Sure, I'll take it for. So with the SARMs, I've tried some SARMs, but and I've tried some other things like Jesse's been talking about as well. But I've always found that the SARMs we've tried them, and my girlfriend's tried them, and they seem to have more side effects. What the ones I've tried LG 4033. And I've tried a RAD 140, and with the RAD 140, I was anecdotally it was blood pressure spike, so it was a little scary for me. I don't really like to run around with high blood pressure, especially as being an older guy. Right, I'm 55. Right,
Retired from the fire department.
Retired, yeah. So, but. I guess the other thing I wanted to ask about is experience. for life extension and for longevity for TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and HRT for like ladies that are going through menopause, for replacing their hormones. There's definite benefits for all of those things as well. Now, I see there's a trend towards guys. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, and I use I do my shots subcutaneous into the fat, and from the studies I've recognized that you end up with less hills and valleys, so more stable blood plasma levels because it's slower release into the fat cells, so you can use less product and use very small amount. You can use 20% less product and get the same numbers. But apparently doses you can only do a half cc shots with it.
So your question is, we've got 10 minutes to wrap up.
Okay. Well, so I just going to say, like, so it seems to be the trends changed from in the past that testosterone was just based on being cancer causing and being a negative thing.
Stereotype,
Does it not seem like the trend is changing with all the studies out there that they're finding that estrogen is the problem and that what causes cancer, not testosterone?
Lack of estrogen. Holy shit.
So
excessive
extra estrogen.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks.
So part of the whole package for health would be controlling estrogen and having normal levels of testosterone to promote those kind of products. What do you think, Jess?
Thank you very much for that question.
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot of elements like female TRT.
Yeah,
I'm less of an expert at. I know it's beneficial. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. With men, TRT can be very helpful.
Yeah.
And the doses, like you said, they don't have to be that high. It's not bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And sub-Q is an easier way to administer it.
Yeah.
You're limited in dose, but the doses you're talking about, like, there's a guy, like, he's doing 0.2 milliliters, so 50 milligrams of testosterone every other day, which ends up being a decent dose. Like, it puts him higher than normal. And that's very easy to comply with. And then with the less spikes, you get less estrogen spikes too. Right. So you actually need less product to control estrogen. Although I would still recommend a low level of Arimidex, Aromacin, an aromatase inhibitor, estrogen blocker. Also Nastron, that's a bit more veteran kind of tip, but I agree with that at a low dose. It can be helpful. What's the other thing? But yeah, I think balance for just to be a healthy older man that's in shape. High normal testosterone, not outside the range too high. Low normal estrogen. And if you can find a way to boost growth hormone, either with low-dose pharma or MK, which seems promising, that would be pretty optimal, combined with everything else. Good diet, good training, good sleep, but it definitely helps. And I find a lot of guys, they get discouraged and they have low T. And if, testosterone doesn't make you muscular, but it can allow you to pursue the lifestyle much more effectively and comply with it. So you're not burnt out and tired and whatever.
Mike is one of the most strongest athletic human beings I've ever met in my life. Like, he can dive into the pool, swim underwater right to the other end. He goes out in the lake and swims the entire lake in the middle of winter. He's extremely strong, extremely fit, and he's been following this stuff for I thought I knew a lot reading Muscle Weeder and Muscle Fitness and all that stuff, but trying to get inspired as a man to take back my body and be stronger again. But this guy's read a lot and stuff. It's really good to have him on the show today, Jordan, and Jess, you giving him a little time on the show. But before you go, you got to give us your best shot. Can you, most muscular? Can you give us a crab or something? Can you just give us a little treat? A lot of the ladies downtown here at 1620, you gotta take that vest off too. Come on, go for it, Mike.
Approximately.
This is a guy who's got a 12-foot poster outside his house.
You could probably.
There, look at this! Look at this, boys and girls.
If you were,
come on down here, Mike. You're jolly green giant up there. Come on down here, low down. There we go. Oh yeah, there it is. 55-year-old man. super cardio, super muscular.
Not like Jesse.
And no, Jesse.
Jesse takes it to the next.
Jesse takes it to the next level. Good sign off. Yeah.
Let's do Jesse.
Anyways, so let's finish this off. Thank you very much. The guy looks fantastic, and must have a problem beating off all the ladies, eh? I said beaten off.
Yeah, that's not my job.
I'm sorry, I got to put a preface there. All right, Jesse, let's just finish this off. Thanks, Mike, for doing that. You're welcome to stay if you want, or we got about 8 minutes left.
I'll head out. Oh, wait.
And we just got down to the music portion. He picked a song. He's going to pick something better for the next show. So you were in the crowd, Mike, when he won last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we were having trouble finding you on the net today.
I was in the crowd, and Jerry was in the crowd, and we were both voting for Jesse because he trains at our gym in Juan de Fuca, and we knew the winner when we saw him, so that's who we were voting for. And he had quite the outfit on too. He had like a pink fuller posing.
No.
Yeah, and he looked really good at him.
Fuck that.
The girls were going crazy.
Well, I heard there was a guy back in Germany who offered him $700 for them after the show.
America, U.S.
U.S. of A. USA.
He's probably got sentimental value attached to those, so I probably weren't selling them for that.
Probably not. Consider.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. All those men back in the USA got their Palm Pilots out watching. Jess, come on back here for the show. This has been a great show so far. It's so educational. If we can start, I believe you're actually helping to save people's lives, because for so long testosterone was the bad Tony, bad, and then now we're finding out it was estrogen. And I think, who's that great Canadian writer? He's written about 7 books. Beer Belly Blues and stuff like that. He took this on in some of his books. A great writer. Got him on my Facebook here. Can't think of it right now. But so you're attacking it chemically and with a thing that's innate to our body, I guess. We all need testosterone. We all need triglycerides and adipose tissue. We need to have fat in certain areas and stuff like that.
Even estrogen. One time I nuked my estrogen as an experiment.
Yeah.
In Thailand on letrozole.
Okay.
And that was miserable. Like, I couldn't even get an erection. Only time in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Cialis made no difference. Testosterone made no difference.
So
if you tank your estrogen, which some guys do, especially around a show, because it can dry you out conceivably, but it's kind of flawed logic.
Wow.
So anyway, estrogen is needed in some amounts. Most men have estrogen dominance, especially men that are not on testosterone in today's society that are out of shape.
Yeah.
And that's typically, I'm a little out of my depth, but what is more likely to cause cancer, especially prostate cancer.
Yeah. This is your future without testosterone. Look at it.
Well,
you're looking at right now, Jesse.
It could be worse, I imagine.
This is ugly.
Mike looked pretty good for 55.
Yeah, no, he's not bad, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a weird, strange kind of athlete that way. Because
and I've talked to him. He's on
cardio guy or
very low doses too.
Yeah,
just by the way.
Yeah, and he goes out mountain bike riding, and he just does things like you wouldn't expect from a big bodybuilding kind of guy. You expect him to get winded, like you say. You were talking about earlier and stuff. How much cardio can you do with those big muscles?
That's a good question.
Does that destroy your everything you're trying to do?
All good. For me now, I don't do any structured cardio. I find I have a fairly fast metabolism. I train hard. My cardio could be better though. Like if I'm having sex or whatever, it's like I gotta take a minute and readjust and then catch my breath. I find my cardio gets back pretty quick. So around showtime, I wasn't even doing that much, but maybe 45 minutes of incline walking, techno in the background, good strut. Yeah. Usually good sativa too, by the way. That really helped me during prep.
Yeah.
My first show, I was smoking cannabis in moderation, and it derailed me a little bit. Like I'd always, justify refeed, and I couldn't really control my diet as much. Yeah. And then I reframed it because I like the use of cannabis. Yeah. And appetite is, you can control it. I'm good at suffering if there's a reason. So I find it can improve the mental state when you're so dialed into a show and you're taking whatever you're taking, stimulants and androgens. Yeah. It can just mellow me out, and it's a positive.
My biggest question here, this is for fatter people like me that how do we control that edge? Like, I want to go home and I want to get buy a box of ice cream. Not so much after work talking to you, I'm inspired not to, but a lot of us have these, whether it's drugs, alcohol, eating, have addictions. So it's so easy to grab potato chips and sit down and watch a movie and stuff. And this tears people's lives apart and puts people into diabetes and stuff like that. So how do we fight that?
Again, a good
Chromium piclinate?
Probably not.
Okay.
I've never used it directly.
Okay.
I've been doing this a long time. Even as a kid, I didn't really have a taste for sugar. I gave my Halloween candy away. I didn't eat birthday cake. So what's wrong with this kid? But I find, and with clients too, I can show them how to make substitutions that really do work. I eat ice cream, but it's like mango, organic frozen mango, coconut cream, Ninja ice cream maker, a few ingredients, but there's nothing I wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's more delicious than whatever you buy at the store. And chips too, they're so easy and they're so cheap. My diet is very expensive. It just is. So it's priority and it's cost. And every day, it's a daily practice.
If you're my freaking drill sergeant, you want me not to go home and eat tonight, what do you tell me that'll wake me the fuck up? So I go home and I don't eat.
Well, this is kind of a cliched phrase, but it's very true if you really take it on, which is you are what you eat. Do you want to build your body out of cheap processed crap? No. Organic elk? Yeah. Red pepper? Sure.
What you eat can kill you too, so you want to be deaf on
also,
2 legs.
All your cells are made out of what you eat. So think of what kind of structure you have if you're eating crap all the time.
We got to go now, man, but can you hit a pose? Can you give me just a little bicep or something to get through my workout tonight?
Through my sweatshirt?
Yeah, Robin's going to start working out pretty soon too, on that tricep of his over there.
I'm excited.
And
if you could include arms,
do you mind? Can we see the legend right now? The next Mr. Olympia. Are you okay to take that off and just?
I could, but let me just flag because it's
please.
also so relevant with my clients. My clients, a lot of them, they get really in shape, and same with me. We're all in shape, but there's this neurosis of bodybuilding where it's never finished.
Okay,
I can't show anyone.
Okay, okay,
and that's why you cover up. So you weigh in at 245, and I was like, "What the hell does this guy look like?"
So you have no ego at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily take it off and go out there and get a date tonight where, I might be waiting for a decade.
If I take it off, you'd be surprised. I mean, some women are into it, but not initially. It's like
you should see Mikey over there.
Well, he seems to do okay.
He seems to do okay.
Yeah, but it's not really about that. It never was for me.
Yeah.
I find fans that appreciate it, and it's important to me to appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've had girls be like, "Ew, you're so vascular." It's like, okay, well, clearly I'm not for you. It's like, "Oh, your calves are too big." It's like, okay, fine, I don't care.
Oh man,
but
thank you so much. You're going to keep it covered up today. You're going to let your action on the stage do the talking.
I like it that way.
Wow, man, this has been a fantastic show. After having a rock star, we got a rock star of bodybuilding, nutrition, health, sex, and longevity. That's what this show is all about on Himes Hotshots. And thank you so much for coming in today. And you're going to have a lot of people asking a lot of questions. Is there something you want to finish off on or say?
I welcome questions. I love feedback, and I love specific questions.
So once again, go to
the best way. I'm really trying to improve my Instagram. Jess Jordan 222. That's the best way to.
Jess Jordan 222 on Instagram.
Yeah, and feel free to message me. I've had a lot of creepy messages, so I've got pretty thick skin. But if you can ask good specific questions, and that would be ideal.
Right on, man.
If you can offer more than $700 for those shorts,
it's true. I'll consider.
Robin will give you 701.
If you want to give me $6.99, I'll add in $2.
Okay, well, saves me shipping.
There you go. Yeah, thanks a lot, Jess, for being on the show. Ken, great work today. Follow, please, 1620 High Noon on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on all your podcast platforms in the coming weeks here. So iTunes, Spotify, etc. Ken, do you have anything? What's your Instagram? Is it Hurricane?
I don't care about my stuff. I'm just going to hide in the back.
You just hide in the back.
You let these guys be the stars. You're the star. Robin Unger, producer back there, and creative director and security task force, the great Jeremiah Armstrong. Thank you once again. I was going to say Sass Jordan. Jess Jordan. We talked about the juicy Jess Jordan. What a great show it was. We got the frickin' truth for once.
I mean, it's a long conversation. I'd love to talk again, but
you're coming back. You're coming back. Thank you so much. From 1620, it's Hurricane Himes, a sports guy that's not shy, for health, sex, and longevity on the 1620 podcast.
Right on. Let's roll a joint.